what he believes to be of quality. But there is, unseen by most, an episodic horror-based TV show. A show that still holds up. A show called Tales from the Dark Side.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the Great Kharma.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Talks from the Dark Side, the podcast where we talk about the 80s horror anthology television show Tales from the Dark Side, created by George Romero and Richard Rubenstein. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
And I'm Chris Bahr.
Today we're talking about Levitation, written by David Gerrold and directed by John Harrison from May 19th, 1985.
Good old John Harrison.
He's back.
Yeah. And David Gerrold.
Well, yeah, David Gerrold's back from the last episode, but John Harrison, baby. Now we're talking.
This is like, John Harrison was a big name in Tales from the Dark Side, Creep Show, a lot of the Romero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Doors. No, neither you're going to take the bait on that joke. All right, I'm left out of the lurch on that one. God damn.
Waiting for the follow-up.
No, but John Harrison did a bunch of the music for Tales from the Dark Side, the series. He scored Creep Show, like you said.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Day of the Dead did
yeah.
that soundtrack.
It's coming back to me now. You're right. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
great,
yeah.
man. And he directed the miniseries of Dune,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me.
The Sting one, right? No,
that's Lynch.
I haven't seen any of. Well, I've seen the Sting one, actually. I take that back.
Oh, you did?
The David Lynch one years ago. Barely remember it.
I love that movie. But anyway, yeah, David Gerrold, we gave you the rundown on the last episode, and John Harrison, well, we've covered John Harrison extensively on his other episodes that he's done. So we're just kind of gonna gloss over John for this particular episode because there's other the information's in other episodes.
On previous episodes or an episode, I forget which one it was, I mentioned the order of episodes. Now, this is not a clown episode, but I think that maybe they should have separated this a little from, not that it's a comedy episode, but I just like, I don't know. Maybe,
a carnival episode, you mean?
I don't know. Maybe, is that just me? Am I like overthinking this a little?
There's no clowns to be had at this carnival, this fair, whatever you want to call it.
Clown setting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. It doesn't ruin the episode. I just thought that was odd. I was like, all right, we got circus adjacent things back to back.
I mean, maybe the clowns from Clown House are like down in the other
Just
tent.
hanging out. You got
Maybe
Clown House, Fun House.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gunther's there.
It's the same carnival.
Totally. Ghoulies, the Satan Santa's in the back.
Yeah, Phil Fontacaro's there somewhere.
Oh yeah, running around Sir Nigel. Yeah.
Giant ghoulies are down the other side.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But this is an interesting one. We have some actors, or specifically a actor that we're going to get into that I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Joseph Turkel in this, man.
Yeah. From The Shining, the bartender.
Yeah, he's also from Blade Runner. He plays Dr.
Yeah,
Tyrell
himself.
Yeah.
He's great in this. What is he? What is the name of this character? Karma?
The Great Kharma.
The Great
Kharma,
Kharma, yeah. Not as good as the Great Fausto, though. Not as good as Royal Dano.
No, let's not confuse the two.
So Turkel plays the Great Kharma. And then we have John Marzilli. Now, I wanted to bring him up because he's relevant to a main episode that we're covering, Project Metal Beast. And he plays Butler in Metal Beast. And he pops up frequently throughout the Tales from the Dark Side pantheon.
Yeah.
And in this one, specifically, he plays like a carny. It's just like a background character, but you could
he's
see
only in
him
it for like a little second.
A second.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode may be out or may not. I'm not sure on the exact release date of this episode, but we talk about it in the Project Metal Beast episode that he's in like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, he's in a ton. But there's also one of the Barkers when they first go into this carnival thing. One of the Barkers is the mob boss from the No Strings episode of Tales from the Dark Side. I don't know if it's... We were talking about this. Is it a Talks? I mean, is it a Tales from the Dark Side or is it a Monsters?
I think it's a Tales.
It is.
Yep.
And that's the one where like the ghost of the mob guy comes back in this fucking puppet. We'll get to it. Yeah.
Wow.
But
this show just keeps getting more
we got
interesting.
Some good stuff.
We got some
ahead.
crazy stuff coming. So yeah, without further ado, let's get that Fangoria.
Right, let's do the synopsis.
The synopsis.
Read. Yeah. So here's the official synopsis from the Fangoria guide. The Great Kharma, once a world-renowned illusionist, has been reduced to playing small-town carnivals. While performing a stint at one such sideshow, Kharma's mercilessly heckled by a teenage rowdy in the audience. It says rowdy.
Rowdy Piper.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of looks like
Put
him.
on the glasses.
Put on the goddamn glasses.
Challenged to perform his ultimate trick, Kharma executes a levitation act that goes chillingly awry.
Wow. I mean, they talk about one that almost spoils it, but I guess you don't have context.
No, and without the context, it doesn't do it justice.
No.
So this follows this kid Frank, who loves magic.
He's almost like a roadie, I guess you could say, like a magic roadie.
Is that like a fish head or like a dead head? They like follow around the
guess.
bands, or like a 9 Inch Nail, Ninny, or
Going to
whatever the
some
fuck it's called.
Backwoods carnivals.
Yeah.
Looking
for washed up magicians.
Right?
I don't get this guy's deal at all.
Well,
because his whole thing is like, I'm going to learn from the Great Kharma and I'm going to be his apprentice, but I've never met him. And I drove 75 miles, but this is going to work out great.
Also, he doesn't come off like an aspiring magician.
No.
Mm-mm.
He just looks like a normal kid. He's with his buddy going to this carnival.
He's not. Well, to be fair, he is like trying to show his buddy like a magic trick in the beginning with
That's
the cards,
true.
but that's the only time we see that.
Yeah.
So I guess he's like an aspiring magician, but he wants to learn from the best. And the best of the best of the best is Kharma.
The Great
Kharma, excuse me.
I was going to say Kevin J. O'Connor from The Lord of Illusion, but, okay.
It's possible.
Yeah. But, I mean, you're right. I'm kind of playing that up a little bit because of what happens in this, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. This guy, sure, he's into magic, but he just seems kind of like, hey, it's just something to do on a Saturday. And his friend's just like, I don't know about any of this.
His friend drove with him 75 miles to see this act. Imagine like dragging your buddy to a fucking carnival, like a shithole carnival.
Circus.
Yeah, but like without context.
Yeah.
You don't get any popcorn. You don't get any cotton candy. You're just like going right for the magic show.
So they go to see the show. They see the Kharma, and he's so fucking psyched to see this.
Yeah.
And Kharma is just he's no longer the Great Kharma. He's just Kharma because he's doing like run-of-the-mill bullshit gags, like pulling like a fucking rat out of the hat.
Standard boring stuff like, oh, I'm going to cut a rope in half. Look, it's
the Chinese linking rings.
Yeah,
stuff you've seen,
stuff you literally
forever.
Stuff you literally get in like magic kits.
Yeah, like total entry-level magic illusions.
They're illusions, Michael. Tricks of what hoes do for money. When he pulls the flowers out of like a cape or whatever.
And then like takes like the buds and like throws them in a blanket and then puts it over the bouquet in their back, like stuff like that.
That kind of stuff.
It's all very like backyard clown gags, or not clown gags, but like backyard magician gags. Yeah.
I got the clown word in your head. I keep saying it. Sorry.
I was thinking about double toil and trouble. You got Phil Fondacaro kicking up.
Sure.
The magic, the clown, it's all there.
Meshock Taylor, the whole shabam.
Oh, he probably works at this carnival.
Oh yeah, I do like the guillotine, the guillotine, however you want to fucking say that trick, because I remember seeing that at Six Flags Great Adventure so many times during the Fright Fest. They do stuff like that, and they add all the fake blood to make it more interesting. Yeah. But like that's the one trick I'm like, I know that like this guy's saying this is like a rudimentary trick, but I would love to know how the fuck he did that.
Well, the fake guillotine's pretty impressive. Because like this woman's head comes off.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, the woman, his like assistant, Kharma's assistant's head gets like put through this thing. And I've never seen that trick done before.
No.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But he even tests to demonstrate to the audience that it's a real blade.
Yeah.
Cuts his finger on the actual blade of it.
Yeah.
Shows him blood. It's like, all right, cool. We got a blade here.
And this guy has a presence too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Turkel's amazing. Like he's just a great actor. And it's like, what are you doing in this episode? Like, but he really makes it though. But we'll get to that. So Frank gets all pissed off because he's like, why are you doing these rudimentary tricks? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, he's watching the act with like stars in his eyes.
Yeah. He's like, you're
excited to show his friend. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the greatest. I saw you, I read about you performing in London, the levitation trick. And what about the whirlwind whatevers?
Yeah.
And he's like, you studied under Houdini. And
well, yes and no.
Well, yeah. So
because I love how I want to mention this specifically because I really like this this art direction, camera direction, however you want to word this, where they're trying to meet him behind stage.
Yeah.
And we get this great shot a couple times throughout where it's like a sheet in front of him with you see the shadow of him sitting there. Mm-hmm. I was just like, you see that in other stuff. It's not like it's super original, but I like that touch.
It makes you, this guy's washed up. Right?
Yeah.
Big time. Something's up. He's working at the shitty carnival. They're eating like dirty fucking food off like these Dixie plates.
Out of the back of a truck.
Out of a back of a truck,
Yeah.
drinking booze, like, nursing their sorrows and whatever they have left in their like life.
Yeah, it's kind
Right?
of sad.
It's super sad.
Yeah.
Especially since this guy used to be this great performer, right?
Yeah, and his assistant Flora is like, yeah, no, he doesn't see anybody after the show. Get the hell out of here. But Frank pushes, and just kind of skirts around
Yeah.
to talk to him. And, you know, he won't answer. Like you said, he's listing all the magic tricks off that he's so famous for. And he mentions that levitation trick. He's like, you did it 4 times. Why don't you do it again? He's like, I only did it 3 times. And the last time I did it, well, he doesn't say this, but his assistant does. Is like, the last time he did it was with his daughter.
And something bad
implying
happened.
Something bad happened. Yeah.
But like he's like I never met Houdini. I was a baby when Houdini died, and he's like no, you talked to him from beyond the grave, and he's like I never talked to Houdini behind the grave. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All going by something he read in some like London library, right?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
out of a book
Yeah.
because it's not like you can go on fucking YouTube and
Exactly. Wikipedia.
and watch the performance.
Yeah.
I kind of read that 2 different ways, though. Maybe I'm thinking about this incorrectly, but, you know, so sue me. But it's like, did he just read that in some bullshit article? Or did this guy really get a message in his head from fucking Houdini's ghost?
Well, we find out that he actually does.
Well,
It's
true,
implied.
yeah,
He never
yeah.
comes out and says it, but he tells the kid that because he wants him to go away. He's
Mhm.
like, it's all bullshit. Leave me alone. I'm not going to teach you how to do any magic.
He's like, come on, you got to tell me the secrets.
What's the secrets? He's like, the secret is there
There are
is
no
no
secrets.
secrets.
Yeah. And it's like, again, like, if you want to be this guy's apprentice, like, 22-minute long show, but, like, there's a thing called tact, and you're not using any of it.
He's like, I want to learn. Like, teach me. He's like, if you want to learn, go to school, get a job.
Yeah.
Stop
Do something
fucking
with your
around.
life, yeah.
Stop fucking around with illusions.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of has a double meaning in and of itself. Like, look where my life is right now. Like, I don't recommend it. Go make something out of yourself.
Don't meet your heroes. That's the big takeaway for me.
Especially if they're magicians.
Especially if they're magicians. Even if you go to school and you're passionate about something, you still might not end up on top. So just remember that.
Wait, real quick thought. It's like with all these anthology shows like this, Tales from the Crypt, is there ever an instance of like meeting a magician and it turns out like good?
I would say even Twilight Zone, it's always
Even
bad.
Twilight Zone.
or ventriloquist dummy.
I think there's minutia to that
Yeah,
question
exactly, yeah.
where it's part of another story
Yeah.
or part of the larger picture that's going on in that particular episode
Okay.
of that particular series.
So we can say without a doubt, don't meet magicians.
Don't heckle
Yeah,
magicians.
exactly.
Or you get what you wish for,
Yeah.
you know?
So his buddy Ernie just grabs a photo. Just, wow, what is this? I think it's his daughter, but they
He
don't
knocks
ever
it
say.
over and he's like, what the f-? He's like, don't
Yeah.
touch that.
Yeah, just grabs it.
Yeah.
It's like looking at it. It's like, what are you doing with my stuff?
Again, this guy has nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
He's like eating a dirty chicken wing and drinking scotch and or probably some cheap ass bourbon, and then like has like his little makeup kit on the back of a pickup.
Yeah, it's
This guy's
sad.
gonna bust your ass. Don't touch his stuff.
Yeah.
So then they kind of leave the area between. They've seen what they had to see, and they're getting pushed out. And we get one final shot of that shadow kind of thing I was talking about,
Yeah.
where you just kind of see Kharma just kind of like head in the hand, kind of looks defeated through the sheet. It's like, oh man, this poor guy.
It's so horrible too because like he pisses off Frank so much because he won't tell him. He's like, you're fucking nothing. He's like, you're a fucking loser.
You're
know?
a fraud.
You're a fraud,
Yeah.
and it just like totally like decimates this dude. Like he's already not having a good time.
Yeah, he's already not in a good place.
Yeah, he's already
And
not in a
just
good
pushing
place,
him.
and you're just kicking him when he's
Yeah.
down. And he's really trying to help the kid, right?
Yeah. And you could tell it's like he's definitely reserved when he's talking about the levitation trick.
Oh, big
Mm.
time.
That's kind of the big thing. It's like the unassisted levitation.
Yeah, but that's because when the assistant runs out, she's like, look, he did the levitation on
Mm.
his daughter. This is where we get that
Yeah,
exposition.
yeah.
Not only did he do the levitation, but he was the only man. Not even Houdini did the wireless levitation. But the last time he did it on his daughter, and she's dead.
I mean, he did it in Willy Wonka's factory. He should have known better.
Right?
Those ceiling fans, just bad idea.
Oh no, the fizzy lifting drink.
Yeah. Ah!
Right.
Holy shit. You make it more morbid than it actually
could
is.
be.
So then we kind of cut to commercial and we cut back and he's doing his next set.
They're still there. So
Still hanging out.
they stayed overnight 75 miles away. Either they drove back 75 miles or they stayed somewhere in town because they went to the second showing on the second night.
Well, either that or it's the same night and it's the
Well, they said they
another
do it
showing.
4 nights, 4 shows a night.
That's right. You're right. They do 4 shows a night. night.
Because I was thinking the same thing at first. I was like, I'm an asshole. I didn't rewind it, but I was like, are they wearing different T-shirts? Whatever.
That makes sense though. I didn't realize. Duh.
But I love this because Frank is just such an asshole. Like, you want to punch this guy in the mouth as another audience member because he is just heckling this guy nonstop.
Yeah, he really steps it up, like bothering the guy.
He's like, that amateur shit. Yeah, the rings, they link together. They move through each other.
It's a trick cape.
Yeah.
He's got flowers in his pocket.
Yeah, calling out these tricks before he's even like setting up.
Why'd you bring out the fake guillotine
Yeah.
next?
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, what about that other rope in your pocket?
Yeah. Or
And
up
ev-
your sleeve.
And
yeah.
every time
Yeah.
he keeps glancing over at him. Like Kharma keeps glancing at the crowd.
He's
and
like-
it glares at him a little bit, and then it just keeps getting worse.
The intensity that builds up
Oh,
is like the stares that this guy is giving this kid are like incredible.
And there's that one shot where you look, where it's a close up of his face and his eyes twitching.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's also I really appreciate from a camera directing standpoint, or cinematography standpoint rather, kind of get that bird eye view from the seats to Kharma, which kind of like, I don't want to get too deep into that, but just that idea that like he is in, typically speaking, if you look at that, like he would be in a position of power, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially because he's choking up there. Now he finally has had it. Now this kid is just like really just like running him through the ringer. And he's like, what does he say? He says something like, oh, I want the levitation, man.
yeah, yelling at this guy.
He's like, you enjoying yourself? That was the best part. Instead of like freaking out on the kid, he's
Yeah.
just like, you enjoying yourself? He's like, I want the levitation, man. And he's like, come up here. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, Flora's like, maybe you shouldn't do that, Kharma. He's like, it's okay. I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, that's what he says. He says, done. He's like, I'm going to do the levitation on you. He's like, yeah, all right, fine. I want to do it. He's like, done. And he's like, oh, he says some bone chilling shit. Like, it's on your head, he says.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, it's on
Just
you.
get a little freaked out
and
there.
he's like, I'm not scared. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, and they have the two chairs for him to lay down on, and he does like some kind of like incantation to knock him out.
He like throws his cape off and his gloves, and he like puts his hands on his head. He's like, sleep, and he's like saying all this shit, and like, you're under my control and all this stuff.
Yeah, it gets like really intense.
Oh my god,
It's
it's
like
like Dracula vibes, like Christopher Lee Dracula.
And he's like palpitating, and he like can't breathe, and he's like, he's like concentrating like really hard. And by the way, the levitation takes a lot of like energy out of you to do it anyway. So he's doing the levitation, and he's finally giving this kid what he wants, and they kick out the fucking chair and the board, and he's floating.
Yeah,
and it's creepy.
This part's weird. The part that got me here is like when the camera moves behind him.
Yeah,
It's not just a different shot. The camera actually swivels.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole practical shot,
Yeah.
and you can't see how he's suspended.
Yeah.
Which is really
That was
awesome.
a really nice touch.
They went the extra mile, and it
Yeah.
makes it so much better.
But like it just only gets creepier because he's like, rise, 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 and he's like putting all his energy into it, and then he's having a fucking heart attack as he's doing the levitation.
As this guy's like floating
As this guy's
higher, real slow.
yeah, and raising up, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" And his friend's like, "Oh my god, Frank!"
Well, and then he like as he's like falling backwards, dying, he grabs like the side of the tent and rips like a hole in the ceiling.
The whole top of the tent rips open.
Yeah. And then goodbye, Frank.
Oh, the kid's like, "Wait, grab Frank!" He literally just floats out of the tent and into the night sky.
He wakes up though.
Oh, his eyes open,
Yeah, he's awake when this is happening.
but he can't move.
Yeah, floats up through the tent into the sky. Credits.
I know. I saw Iron Man. At some point, not only is he not gonna be able to breathe, but he is gonna be a goddamn icicle.
Oh yeah, unless he doesn't
Popsicle.
get hit by a fucking plane or something.
Well, yeah, like Mary Poppins in that Simpsons episode.
Can you even imagine how frightening that would be to be completely paralyzed with your eyes wide open
You're
and
completely
just like,
conscious.
and just like floating slowly to your death? I mean, you'd probably freeze before anything,
yeah.
before you even
But how high would you go
Oh,
before
yeah.
like
before you
plus
passed
the
out?
idea of like knowing what's gonna happen?
Or maybe if like just because it's magic, you stay awake and alive until you get to space, and then you finally like
Just keep
implode.
Oh my god.
Or you keep going. Oh my god,
Fucked up.
Imagine he's just like cruising the cosmos.
Right?
Yeah, it just withers away and dies eventually. From hunger. Ugh.
This might be like the creepiest ending we've had.
I think it's
up there.
It's the creep. I see what you did there.
Wasn't he? Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's definitely one of the creepier ones, and it's just so bleak. And I don't use that word a lot,
Sure.
but like this is one of those episodes where, this kid fucking asked for it, but like,
This is like a Tales from the Crypt ending, honestly.
Yeah, but it's not just you're gonna do the levitation and you float away. The guy has a fucking heart attack performing one of the things, like one of the illusions or magic that killed his daughter.
Yeah,
and
something
then like
he vowed not to even
never
try
to
again.
do,
Yeah.
and then like he dies doing it. That's like his final performance, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that'll be in the
And the
papers
kid that
the
was
next day.
so excited to see this, pushed him to the point of actually doing this thing after so many years, finally gets it done, and okay, just floats.
Well, now that
floats
kid is literally history now.
It's floating on.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep floating on. Just floating on.
So what do we all think of this?
With all that said, I think this episode's just okay. I like the main guy, Kharma. He's very good, but just like, there's something to be said that some guy gets his comeuppance again, like, which does happen a lot on this show, but it's like, wow, what a brutal comeuppance for some guy that was just being a jackass in the audience. And I'm sure performers would love to do something like this to people like that, and maybe that's kind of also part of the gag. It's a pretty good episode. I just was kind of like, not my favorite, but the ending really like puts it over the top.
Mhm.
Where I'd be like, oh, if this was on the shelf per se, I'd be reaching for it.
Gotcha.
But it's not like out of the whole season. It's definitely not in my top, even 10. But it's fine. It's a good one.
I like it. It's like also I'm kind of in favor of all those, like the setting we have here,
Oh, big time.
which is like those old back alley carnivals.
Mhm.
And again, going back to like Tales from the Crypt,
Oh yeah,
it's like some really solid episodes
like
in those.
the Lower Berth and the one with Ernie Hudson. I always forget the name of that one.
Oh, with the voodoo one.
Yeah, where he's like in the full like carny makeup. Yeah.
And then there's the first season that Dig That Caddy's really gone.
Oh yeah, with
Yeah.
Joe Pantoliano. Yeah.
Yeah,
Joey
so
Pants
just, like,
himself.
yeah, I just love these kind of settings. These like these shady, carnivals and stuff like that. So it's like I'm giving it extra points for that.
Sure.
But it's fine. I agree with Sean. It's like, it's not too exciting, but it's like as a tone, and I like the ending.
Oh,
Plus,
big time.
Joe Turkel's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
He carries this.
Oh, yeah.
He really makes it for sure. I kind of love this one only because like there's no real bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Guy's an asshole, but he's not really a
He's
bad
an
guy.
asshole,
Yeah.
but like he's kind of dedicated his life to this guy's work. And he finally seeks him out to find him to be an apprentice to him. And like, it's totally not what he expects it to be. And he's angry and he's mad. Should he have done what he did? No. But that doesn't necessarily make him a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like a bad dude.
Yeah.
And of course, Great Kharma, Joe Turkel's character, isn't a bad guy either, because he's trying to tell this kid like, hey, you don't want to fuck with this stuff. It ruined my life. And you're going to end up just like me or worse. And it turns out it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because not only does Kharma like try to prove that he still got what it takes, but also just to prove this little shit wrong and that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then they both get it. Joe Turkel has a fucking heart attack and this kid flies into oblivion somewhere.
All because he was just overeager.
Overeager.
Yeah.
Here's my question, though. How does Ernie get home? Because Fred, or Frank, whatever the fuck his name is, has the keys in his pocket. He's gotta get a bus or a taxi?
Hey, man, it's all right. He'll hitchhike back. It's the 80s.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just was thinking about that.
It's a good one. And again, there's no jokes in this one. This is also a straightforward drama. Again, like you said before, just not to keep saying it, but like Joe Turkel is like really bringing it for a Tales from the Darkside episode.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
He's
not
like
even
intimidating.
Yeah, he likes to act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's giving 100% here. Like he's not phoning in at all, and he's just really excellent. And the again, the dread that runs through this episode is palpable. And again, that tone that you were talking about at the carnival kind of it sets that seediness to it, and that kind of dirty grittiness to the whole thing. And then that ending is such a fucking banger because of that just shot of him just like it's just a static shot of the top of the tent, him floating out of frame, and it's just like shit. Nobody's screaming, nobody's yelling.
Yeah, it just sits there.
It just ends.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's creepy.
I like it a lot. It's definitely a good episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the Levitation, Or Levitation. I think it's just Levitation.
I think it's a
Just
Leviathan.
levitation.
So yeah, that was Levitation. And until next time, I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
And I'm Chris Bahr.
Tales from the Dark Side is always there, waiting for us to watch it, waiting for us to hit play. Until next time, try to find it on DVD and watch along with us.